In Leicester there are over 100 complementary schools which provide services to children and young people, including community and cultural classes, faith-based and community language classes and study support to help children with national curriculum subjects, particularly mathematics, English and science. According to academic research, the work of complementary schools has a visible impact on children's academic and social achievement. Although ethnic minority communities may have some common reasons for setting up a complementary school, such as maintaining language and identity, many of them believe that supporting national curriculum subjects within a complementary school is vital for raising attainment of ethnic minority children in their mainstream schools.
I think if you look at complementary and supplementary schools over the years, there's been quite a change. If you look back to the reasons why they were set up in the 60s, I think they're very different to the reasons why people set them up today.
We prefer the term complementary because of the value added that the schools do, but at the same time working with the same teaching and learning aims as the mainstream. So complementary schools, like mainstream schools, want success for their children. They want the children to do well in examinations, and so complementary schools often have an examination-focused curriculum of some kind or other, whether it's learning the community language or sometimes learning mathematics or additional subjects.
A lot of the reason is about parents in this modern day, world wanting to keep their children in touch with their culture, their heritage, kind of who they are and about the community, but also I think they're there to raise aspirations.
They're extremely varied. Not only do they vary hugely in size, so sometimes you can have around 20 to 25 students on roll, others you can have 350 students on roll, some of the very large Gujarati schools and Chinese schools in our data, very well organised, very well resourced, lots of students on roll. But of course communities have different resources, different levels of income and therefore different ways of supporting teaching and learning.
There's a big discrepancy between the types of organisations we're talking about. Maintained schools are statutory bodies with a lot of resource, with a high trained workforce. Complementary schools are often shoestring organisations running on volunteering and small subscription amounts, done out of a conviction and a passion for the work they're doing.
Children have the opportunity within a small group to learn, to discuss the problems they have, and therefore they gain the confidence so when they're back within the main school, within the larger class situation, to be able to answer questions.
This long hot summer, that long hot summer, one hot, two long hot summers.
A couple of the boys are very, very new and they've fitted in really well, adapted really quickly, and with the way of working, with the mixed ability working, because I think that in school as well, peer support is something that's really important within the mainstream school as well, so they know about how to work with each other.
This one's a level 3 question, the next one's easy.
Oh, this was in our SATs. No, in our SATs, our kind of in our SATs. Can I do divide by 2? 10.
You could do your 2, take up your zeros if you want to, or you could do 20. 20 is easy.
We try and make it a lot more relaxed. I mean, in a normal class, you wouldn't just be able to shout out the answers, but we let them get excited about it, we let them really enjoy it.
You have to minus 2 because Amber eats 2 pieces, and then you have to find out how many are left.
So how many were left?
There were 3 left.
So what is the answer?
8 cents.
So you have to do 48 divided by 3 equals 16 times it by 4 equals 64.
My son is Nidin Mohan and he's in year 6 and he's in a big group. It helps them to have a one-to-one support, and also it's a low group, so teachers can give extra attention to them and pick on what they are lacking and give an extra support, especially with the maths.
Does your child like coming down here?
Yes, they really enjoy because his friends are here and also their teachers are very good, so he likes to come here.
I like about this complementary school because it helps me in all my maths problems, with Mr. Matta helping me and the school teacher. Mr. Matta is the person who takes care of the I've been struggling this school for maths because it's really tricky for me. And when I go to Coon, Mr. Matta and Mr. Beam help me a lot in my maths because we have we always do decimal points ones here especially because I'm not good at it. And in Coon we do the same thing. And I say to Mr. Matta, I already did this one. And he says, do it again then. 2,600 divided by 2, which is 180, and your answer is £180.
Perfect. Meeting's done. What I wanted.
I like coming there as well because it's a smaller group and because in Coleman there's like 30 children in one class and it's hard to have one teacher to help all of us. So and in Akun there's only like 13 children and it helps and so Mr. Matta can help us all.
When it goes into 160.
80 times.
So 5 20s in 100, then 5, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so that's 8.
I think it's about raising the aspirations of that young person, changing it to a can-do image. You know, it's about the identity and a sense of belonging. Now, as a result of that child feeling all of them, they're going to feel a lot more confident. So when they are in mainstream school, if they don't understand something, they've got the confidence to stick their hand up and say, you know, I don't understand, can you explain more? And I think that in turn will have an impact on their education in general.
It also means that for a lot of our pupils, I don't think they see it as part of school, which is obviously something you do on Monday to Friday. And it's a much more fun, relaxed atmosphere for them.
You didn't check it, you just looked and said it's 48.
We're also seeing more and more of the complementary schools working closely with the maintained schools to support the child's learning in a joint planning kind of way. That the complementary schools learn more about the journey of learning that the children are on and the stages of progress they're going through so that they can match their provision to complement what's happening in school and give the child an informal and coaching type support around the work that they're doing in school.
Their last set of results. I haven't done
Eunice, the teacher, and I meet on a regular basis, and that means that we can both set the agenda for what is taught in the Akun, but also monitor how the children are doing.
I mean, if we look at, say, for example, Navdeep, he's come on in leaps and bounds. Because what I tend to do, what I try to do is, at the beginning of each session, have some sort of quick burst activity, you know, like the thinking skills type things, stuff that we have in school. And we've been doing multiplication competitions between girls and boys and things like that.
It seems to be working really well at the moment. And you've got an interesting bunch of kids.
Right, girls, who's standing from the girls? Right, 54 divided by 6. 9. 4 divided by 2.
2. Yes.
Come on, Biren. Oh, is it in front or Biren? In front. 35 divided by 7. 5. Okay, last one. 70 divided by... 70 divided by 7?
10.
We need our maintained schools and complementary schools to understand each other's work and to work in together and recognise the key partnership roles that each are making.
There are a whole range of support available, that's including mentoring support, advocacy and information and advice. There are also small grants available, which is mainly helping them to support, develop their capacity and improve the services that they provide to children and young people.
Mainstream teachers often don't know enough about the kind of unsung hero work that teachers and community organisers in complementary schools do. Lots of work that goes on in complementary schools, often not acknowledged enough by the mainstream primary and secondary school sector.
Well, certainly mainstream schools can signpost a lot of what's available in the complementary education sector. I mean, we all know about things like the madrasas and other faith education, but there's also language schools that are available, dance schools, and also support for additional English and maths by quite a few organisations such as the Akun and Piker.
I know there is positiveness and enthusiasm from a whole range of service providers in the city around the work of the complementary schools, but there are lots of work needs to be done in terms of promoting the work of the complementary schools and the impact they have on raising standards for our children and young people.
I think what you find though is sometimes It's when supplementary school seems to get somebody here, it's not just that it's a job that somebody's got to do. They really believe in the ethos of supplementary schools. If we can harness those people, they go out there and they'll spread the message and raise awareness.
In summarising, I'd say that the relationship is about recognition of the part that each is playing. But if we can move beyond that, I think we can work together in a strong partnership around supporting and promoting children's achievements, and then supporting our organisations as well to improve the quality of what we're doing through joint work around training, development, and the shared collective endeavour to support the families in our communities.
Okay, you can then all get a book to read, but you also need to make sure everything's tidy, because we have used things from the classroom, so we need to make sure that goes where it belongs. If we're taking books from the shelf, we need to put books back on the shelf and make sure the shelf's not a mess. Right.
Belonging to us.